American Roundtable. I'm Bill Strickler, and I'm with my brother from New York City to give you the latest information, Dwight Brewster, aka Dr. Mambo. So, Dwight, what are you seeing up there in New York? What's the real story?
Well, before I can give you the real story, let's give a little background. New York is the largest city and the most dense city in the United States. So consequently, whatever happens here is going to be amplified. I don't want your listeners and viewers to think that we're sicker here than everybody else. Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, what's actually going on in New York is we're the epicenter of this crisis. And this pandemic didn't start here, started in China, but it hit us hard because, again, we're densely packed. The latest is we have 7 refrigerated trucks, brand new, pulled in yesterday afternoon as temporary morgues to house the dead. We
So,
have 1,000 people who have died up to date. That's today. It's probably higher than that by tonight.
so
You're
do you
going to
think
ask.
the information coming from your governor and mayor are legit, or do you think it's there's some wiggle room there what the truth is?
All right. I'm glad you asked that question. Uh, our mayor, de Blasio, and our governor, Cuomo, have been spot on with the information because they're not playing politics or dealing in hyperbole. People are dying on their doorsteps. And so consequently, they've been very forceful of getting us as New Yorkers the information we need. And I just want to add this vicariously for the rest of the country, because what happens here is going to happen to all of you shortly.
So, what's going on with? I heard somebody say that when people were asked to stay in their houses, that 1,000 people met the ship, the hospital ship. I mean, are people still getting together? They still going to the clubs, which I know is a problem for you because you perform in clubs. But are they still gathering together? Are they following the 6 foot rule? Tell me.
Absolutely correct. Most of our stores have tape on the floor to help you separate. But you must understand, this is America. And 20% of our population doesn't believe anything or will buy into any conspiracy theory if it matches or is close to their trend of thought. With that said, there's always some people who will want to break the rules. For example, this morning, 10 playgrounds in a troubled area were closed today because of congregating. But as I said, America, 20% always does this. I just saw some shots yesterday from your beaches in Miami.
You New Yorkers are coming down here. That's what the problem is.
Unfortunately, no, they're not, because
I
the
thought I saw you
airports,
on the beach down there in Miami.
yeah, the airports are closed, the train stations are closed. New York is basically semi-quarantine. You can move around, but they're asking you to keep your distance. One of the reasons why we will probably get over the pandemic is because 80% of our population is listening to the governor and the mayor. As again, I said, there's 20% across the board, and this is the American way, and you know this. They don't listen to anything.
Yep, no kidding. So let me ask you this question. So we only have a few seconds left. When do you think this is going to pass over so we can get back to living again?
America, who are listening to this broadcast, be prepared to be sequestered for 6 months. Why? Let me say very quickly. Our initial crest will be met probably in 30 days. But when the rules are relaxed, you can be reinfected from people who travel from other places. We have to be very careful of that. There it is.
Okay, this is Bill Strickler with my special interview with my brother in New York City, who actually lives in New York City and is a performer. So are you able to perform anymore? Are you all shut down? So you're planning on months of just staying in the house?
Uh, all clubs and all sorts of entertainment, from Broadway to clubs to bars, restaurants, is all closed here in New York. All. Now, with that said, there's a lot of stuff online. I saw Bon Jovi online last night performing and this morning. And obviously, I'm going to give some performances online. And as we speak, you see in the background that stuff moves around because we're getting ready to turn this studio. We're making space so we can put up our green screen so we can do performances from here.
All right, cool. So when you're ready to perform, just give me a buzz. We'll put you on. You can give a performance.
Absolutely. Be happy to do that. And also, I'd like for you to appear on our radio show on heatfmradio.com.
Cool.
Okay?
All right, Dwight. Thanks for picking up, and we'll do this again soon.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right,
Have a
see you,
great
Dwight.
day.
Bye.
Peace.
This is American Roundtable. I'm Bill Strickler, and I'm with my close friend, my brother from Ireland, who's actually in Valencia, Spain right now. So what's the situation with the virus?
Well, as you actually call in here, Will, we have the nightly clapping of support for the health workers going on, which happens at 8 p.m. Spanish time every evening, where everybody actually comes to the balconies of their apartments and claps and cheers their work during the day. And you may hear in the background sirens, which is ambulances and police doing a patrol through the streets, acknowledging the support. Currently in Spain, we have 100,000 cases of the coronavirus infections. We have, as of yesterday, 9,000 deaths. We have a government who's trying to compile this information from regional governments. Information all the time is not correct. It takes a day to kind of gather up what each region is actually reporting. So, as best we know at this stage, there's nearly 9,000 deaths. Most of the deaths and the infected areas are actually areas of Madrid and Barcelona, the Catalonia areas. This city, Valencia, is probably about the same size as Orlando, Florida. So it is. And they have roughly about 5,000 infections in the city and the city area, with roughly about 300 deaths in this area.
Where do people think that the virus came from?
Well, I think we're all very clear where the virus actually came from, as far as we know. Nothing has changed our mind as far as the origin of the virus. The fact of the matter is that Europe itself would have a very large Asian population traveling in Europe, and the New Year holidays for the Chinese coincided with a lot of people going back to China and then coming back here again. And that's possibly what's happened in Italy, and possibly what's happened in Spain as well.
So you think that the travel between China and Europe for holidays or coming back home, that's caused most of the problems?
I think so. I myself was actually due to China on the 7th of January. But we had to postpone it because of the Chinese New Year. And then, of course, at that stage, we had read about the troubles in Wuhan. We decided to postpone it until after the Chinese New Year, but then things had accelerated. This city itself sees a huge tourist from the Chinese area. Nowadays, there's obviously absolutely none. Absolutely none.
Well,
but up until that,
we're going to show 3 videos here that you sent me earlier. One is the clapping and the support that local residents have. The second is for the hospital video, and then the streets. Can you talk a little bit about those 3?
Sure. Yeah. The clapping. It's everybody. I came across from France 2 weeks ago. This is day 17 on lockdown. My daughter in the house here actually hasn't been out of the house in 17 days. We get out. We're allowed out of the house for 30 minutes, and the people in the surrounding buildings here are simple. So at 8 p.m., it's very clear over here that the health workers are at the forefront of the fight against this virus, and they're going largely unprotected. Over 15% of the virus infections in Spain are attributed to health workers, people on the front line. And without these people, this country is in serious trouble. More and more infections are taking place with health workers every day. So support has been issued to these people on a nightly basis to show how much the Spanish appreciate their work. The other video I showed you, which is a bus journey around the streets of Valencia, which would normally be a very buzzing, busy city. As I said, the same size as Orlando. So if you look at that video and then imagine Orlando with those empty streets and empty buildings, with no business taking place, the economy in Spain is suffering badly. 850,000 people lost their jobs in the month of March. Most of the business loss was in the construction business, and the hotels and restaurants for part-time workers.
And what about the hospital? You sent me a video on the hospital.
Most
of the people look older.
Yes. One of the big issues for countries like Italy and Spain, the reason that this has accelerated through the homes and families is that traditionally in Italy and Spain, first, second, and third generations of families could all live in the one house together. And traditionally, as we know at this stage, that this virus is affecting the older age group of the population, and both Italy and Spain have a huge older generation of people. Hence why it's getting affected so badly.
So you've been in the house for 17 days, and I believe you've become very close friends with your dog, because your dog lets you get out of the house.
The dog is actually my only reason to get out of the house. You need a dog to walk, so you do. My dog at this stage has caught this on and is now deciding to go and strike. She used to love the lead when she sees it coming. Now when she sees me getting up in the morning, because it's my only form of exercise, so it's a very speedy walk, which the dog doesn't like. So she runs and hides. I actually think she's going to start billing me from now on for my daily walk.
Smart dog. So you've been in the house for 17 days. You have a daughter, and what kind of advice could you have for Americans how to deal with being in the house for so long with the rest of your family?
Well, for a start, what you've got to do is you've got to take this threat very seriously. You've got to take the advice of the scientists in your country. In this country, the politicians, and in Italy too, the politicians played a political game, so they did between themselves, and they did not act advice they were given by their medical people or their scientists. You have got to take the advice and stay away Social distancing is very important. In the house, I'm not too sure if my wife wants to shoot me at the end of this period, but at least when I'm talking to you over the US, I get a little bit of time, so I do. So I'm distracted. We're looking up on very well, so maybe at this stage we're not. But we are expecting to be here in 2 months' time.
Well, not everybody's as lucky as you to be in the house with somebody they want to be in the house with. So thanks for taking the interview today, and I'm sure we'll be talking again. Thanks, my brother.
No problem.
All right.
Keep safe over there.
Bye.
Ta-da. Bye-bye.
I'm Bill Strickler, and here's another version of The World in Crisis. And I have Lisa from Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is a town pretty much touristy, mostly touristy, just like Orlando. So how are people handling things out there in Las Vegas, Lisa?
First, they were panicking, and there'd be 1 million people at the stores trying to buy everything up, lines all around the stores. And, the employers at the casinos, they weren't really taking it too seriously at the beginning. And as soon as our governor decided to shut things down, then they started taking things a little bit more seriously. People are scared. They're worried about what's going to happen. Nobody really wants to go out that I know of. You still see some people going to the lake and to some of the parks, but I believe it's going to slow down a little bit. Our governor had just brought in the National Guard, so I believe things are going to start getting a lot worse before it gets better. So, but people are pretty scared because they're not sure what's going to happen, and we know that the government is not being too honest because we believe that it's a lot worse than it is. So,
so do you know
I've been out.
Do you know anybody that's got the virus?
I do not, but I do know 2 employees from one of my sister properties that I work at the cannery, and we have 2 of the casino employees that have died in the last few days from it.
You're sure it's from the virus and not some other problem? Did they have any underlying medical problems?
I'm not really sure, but I do know that they had the virus, and they passed on quickly after they had found out they had it.
How old are they?
I'm not sure. I don't know them personally. I just found out last night that they had passed on.
So the casinos are completely shut down, is that right?
The casinos are shut down. I've been here for probably about 45 years now, and it's the first time in my time being here that I've seen the Strip completely shut down. I know they went a little dark on 9/11, but as far as being shut down totally, never. Not in the 45 years I've been here. And it's I haven't been down there yet, but I've heard people on the news say how it's like a ghost town down there.
So are flights still going in and out of Vegas?
They are, but they're real scarce. They're scarce. I have a cousin that came in from Louisiana, and I told her she's nuts. She wants to come over here to see me, and I said nope, no can do. So I told her, I said, you haven't been here 2 weeks to see if you passed the quarantine deal. And she said there really wasn't that many people at the airport.
So how long have you been locked up or told to stay home? How long have you been in the house?
Since the 18th of March. And I've been out once.
So we're talking basically 2 weeks.
Yes.
How are you dealing with that? Well, what's your advice to people that want to know how you're dealing with it?
Let me tell you, I got so much to do, and I know people that have their their homes. You know, your apartments are a little bit smaller, but when you have a house, I know there's a million things to do. And my son said the same thing to me. I bet you're going nuts. I says, no, I have plenty to do, you know, and you can read, you can sew, you can do all kinds of crafts, you can clean out your closets, work in your yard. There is a lot of things to do, and I'm content with doing what I'm doing just to stay in the house. I recommend everybody staying in to be safe. And I think if you go out, it should be mandatory to wear a mask, whether they think it's appropriate or not. It doesn't matter, because you don't
Safety
know what's
first.
really out there.
Like
Yes,
like in the steel
exactly.
mill,
So
safety first.
that's right. So
So-
that's my recommendation.
So do you see people actually gathering together or hanging out? I mean, you actually see that. The one time you got out of the house, I mean, did you notice
Well-
people not? Are they sparsely around, or did they kind of like say, "Heck with it, I'm just going to kind of like do my own thing"?
Well, when I went out, I went to go bring a mask to a friend of mine, and I met him over by Home Depot. Home Depot, I don't think you could have found a parking spot at Home Depot. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous how the people are, there's so many people that are going in the stores, and the people that were at the lake and at the parks. That I know. I seen the ones at Home Depot. I didn't go in. I just dropped the mask off to my friend, and then I went home. So let me tell you, they are gathering, and it's ridiculous.
So what's your advice for people? Because we got to check out here. So, what would you say to people if you had a chance to talk to them?
I would tell them to stay home. If somebody has to go out, let it be one person go out if they got to go to the store. Otherwise, stay home, because you don't know if you're going to bring this to your family or another person, and that person may not survive. So my recommendation, just to stay home until this is over with.
Okay, Lisa, thanks for telling us the latest and greatest from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm sure we'll be
All right.
checking back with you soon.
All right. Thank
All right,
you.
thanks,
You have
Lisa.
a good day.
All right, bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.